We've all been there, right? It's late, you're scrolling, and you're just deep diving into productivity hacks and life advice. And you feel like you're on the edge of a real breakthrough. But let's ask a tough question. Is soaking up all this content actually making us better? Or are we just, lost in a self-improvement mirage? So, let's get into it. It's a cycle we all know so well. You watch a video on the perfect morning routine, you read an article about deep work, you listen to a podcast on finally breaking that bad habit. And you get that little spark, that hit of motivation, you feel so informed, so inspired, so productive. But here's the big question we need to tackle. Is the feeling of progress the same thing as actual progress? And that feeling right there, that sense of getting things done without actually doing anything, well, that's the heart of what we're going to call the improvement trap. It's this loop we get stuck in, and honestly, it starts with the best of intentions. And when you look at how our time breaks down, the problem becomes super clear. I mean, check this out. For so many of us, a whopping 85% of our self-improvement time is just spent consuming stuff. Then maybe another 10% is spent planning all the amazing things we're going to do. And that leaves, what, a tiny 5% for actually doing the work. That is a huge imbalance between learning and actually living. It's pretty easy to see how we get here. We are swimming in information. There is literally an endless 24/7 library of content that promises a smarter, fitter, more successful you, and it's always just one click away. The amount of advice is infinite. But our ability to actually act on it, that's not so infinite. Okay, so this brings us to a really provocative, maybe even an uncomfortable idea. We're going to call it the brain rot paradox. And yeah, it's designed to challenge this whole idea that just learning more is always a good thing. So here's the punchline. Watching self-improvement videos without changing your habits is just another form of brain rot. Yeah, you heard that right. Brain rot. Just let that sink in for a minute. That's a term we usually say for mindless scrolling or reality TV. But the point here is, if the self-help stuff you're consuming doesn't actually lead to a change in your behavior, well, how different is it really? It's just entertainment wearing a productivity costume. So this is a great moment to just pause and ask yourself, honestly, what is my feed for? Is it a toolbox that I am actively using to build a better life? Or has it kind of become a cozy, comfortable distraction that gives me the feeling of moving forward without any of the hard work? So how in the world do we get brain rot when we're trying so hard to grow? Well, it all comes down to a really common mix-up between putting time in versus achieving real growth. They sound similar, but they are worlds apart. Let me put it this way. Time in just does not equal growth. It's this trap we fall into, believing that if we spend, say, 3 hours watching videos about coding, that it's the same as actually learning how to code. But knowing something in your head is one thing. Being able to actually do it, that's a whole other ballgame. Just look at this breakdown. On the left side, you've got everything we mistake for growth. Watching, listening, reading, it's passive. But on the right side, that's where the magic happens. That's actual growth. You don't just watch a video, you apply the lesson. You don't just listen to a podcast, you practice the skill. You don't just read an article, you do the hard work. It's that crucial jump from consuming to creating, from passive to active. And here's the sneaky psychological part of the trap. Every time we learn something new, our brain gives us a little reward, a little hit of dopamine. It feels good, it feels productive, but that feeling, that's the trap. It tricks us into thinking we've already done something meaningful, when really, we're still just sitting on the sidelines. All right, so we've diagnosed the problem. We see the trap. Now, how do we get out? It's time to turn all that knowledge into real action by breaking our invisible habits. And these are the usual suspects, right? These little invisible habits, that endless scroll for the one more great idea, saving dozens of articles for later, which never comes, subscribing to more and more experts. At the end of the day, we're mistaking information for transformation, and that's what keeps us stuck. So, how do we fight back? It's actually a really simple 3-step plan. First, identify. Just be honest with yourself. What's your go-to passive habit? Is it scrolling TikTok for life hacks? Second, replace. Instead of scrolling, what is one tiny, real-world action you could take? And I mean tiny. If the video is about decluttering, just clear off one shelf. That's it. And third, this is the most important step, execute. Do it today. Now. Not tomorrow, not next week when you have more time. Because ultimately, that's the whole goal here.
It's about making a conscious choice to step out of that shimmering, comfortable mirage of almost improving and plant your feet on the solid, sometimes tough, ground of real-world action. Because that's where all the real growth happens.
So I'll leave you with this final question. Forget about all the videos you've saved. Forget about all the podcasts in your queue. Based on what you truly want to improve in your life, what is the one single small action that you will take today to make it happen?